Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 17th, 2023 meeting of the Dover Area School Board. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Allman, could we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Britton. Mr. Deschaux.
Here.
Mr. Eifert.
Here.
Mr. Emig.
Here.
Mrs. Meese. Here. Mr. Rawhauser.
Here.
Mrs. Whitmer. Mr. Wolverton.
Here.
6 present.
Okay, thank you. This brings us to our communications period tonight. Looks like we have Luke Mabius, our student rep, here tonight to give us a report. So, Luke.
You guys hear me? Yep. All right. How is everyone today?
Thank you.
Good. So I haven't gotten to introduce myself alone yet, but my name's Luke, and I'm the junior representative for Dover. Brooklyn couldn't make it today because she has some sports to attend to, but I thought this can kind of take a chance here today to speak to you guys about what I do in the school and like activities I do outside of the school. So. I'm actually, like for school organizations, I'm part of DECA. I'm the vice president of leadership. So I take in basically the VP role of DECA along with my partner, Bailey Mole. And so we just trying to help the president show what she wants to, like try to help her, sorry, I'm trying to think of the word here, help her execute her vision. I'm also part of competitive academics, which is mock Senate, mock UN, mock trial, and many other things like Academic World Quest. We do all kinds of competitions where we'll do real life scenarios and try to win really. And so we go against everyone in our districts, all around the PA state. And I actually joined last year, but I did World Quest and we did pretty well. We did third place, so it was a lot of fun. I'm also part of Eagle Ambassador / Aptitudes. We basically show freshmen what high school is like, help them around, and try to assist them whenever they need to. It's actually been great. So far, we've done all kinds of activities, showing them, even giving them a tour of the school, orientating them, and really just showing them the ropes in general. I'm also part of Student Council. I've been since freshman year. I ran for council positions 3 times and failed all 3 times. So I'm going to do a 4th time and see if we can get lucky. I'm also part of Minithon. I originally was the Thon captain, but I stepped down and let other people take responsibility for that, and I actually now just do family relations committees and the promotions committee. And lastly, as you can tell, I am the junior representative, and hopefully next year, well, should be senior representative. I'm also an NHS applicant, so we're waiting on the results for that. So, as I said, next year I plan on running for some higher positions in student council. I plan on running for class officer, and then possibly anything else dependent on my schedule. In addition, I'm also part of the CTE pathway for marketing. And there this is going to be tailored to my career. Whenever I do complete the classes, I'll be able to get a certification, and well, actually going into the business world, it'll be able to like put that on my resume, and the employers will look at that and say, this guy's a good candidate. So, outside of school, I work at Smoky Bones. It's a restaurant on 30. And 2 years prior, approximately 2 years anyway, I worked at McDonald's. So it was a great experience and allowed me to work with people. Like I've never gotten to do that before, so it was a great way to learn what it's like in a work environment. My plan for the future is to go into a more distinguished institution for college and achieve a bachelor's or master's in public administration in order to enter the world of politics. So, very touch and go subject there. I'm going to speak to you guys now about DECA. It's an international organization that prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. In DECA this year, we've already accomplished many things like a CTSO presentation, which allowed us to get the word out about what we do and try to get more people to join DECA. We have achieved a 71 membership goal this year. Well, that's how many people we got. So we have also started our first fundraiser, Duck Donuts, and it's due the 26th, so hopefully we'll get some good outcome from that. We are also preparing for our 76ers Day, which was a basketball game, and also we'll get to take a tour of this Eagle Stadium. And this is a great learning experience for anybody who wants to go into the business world and just get to experience how these events are ran by whoever puts them on, you know. We're also doing a lot of large projects within DECA, like I said, promotions, so that I'm part of. DECA is taking care of the promotions aspect of Minithon. Everyone knows what Minithon is, right? Or Thon, yeah. So, yeah, we're handling all the promotional aspects. We also do exceptional highlights. It's focused on working with exceptional students and matching them with other students in the school to do things like unified bocce, and just to try to connect other students together, allow people to experience opportunities to grow. In addition, we also have the student-based enterprise school. Sorry, I don't know the proper term. It's called the Red Zone, and we're planning to do a trunk or treat next week with a DECA car, which is going to be Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, where we'll integrate the Red Zone into that. It's going to be the Red Zone and the Chocolate Factory. We'll all be dressed up as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory characters and have games for students where they can just do anything that's kind of tailored to that and be able to get involved with DECA and the things that we do. We also have competitive events coming up. So districts is in December. We also have states, and hopefully we would like to make it to international level, which is in Anaheim, California. These fundraisers like Duck Donuts really help us be able to fund this. So it's pretty important that we fundraise because it's not cheap. This is also my second year in DECA. Our DECA advisor, Mr. Kress, has been super helpful with everything and has been able to get me more involved within the organization. So I'm very grateful for her. And she's also helping me prepare to further myself within DECA, which I'm going to explain to you guys now. So I'm running for DECA District Officer. It's a state position for District 6. And I'm going to be the first student ever from DECA to run for this position in DHS. Outside of DECA, though, we do have a state representative from Skills USA. Lexi, I don't remember her last name, but her name's Lexi. Outside of district, with doing district rep, I plan on helping start a new chapter in our district, because some schools do not have DECA, so it would be nice to start a new one. I'd like to use the information I've learned during the tenure to improve other chapters, and hopefully something that hasn't been done through a lot of districts is do a mock competitive event in order to prepare students for competitions. Because it is very competitive when you go to international competition. There's over 25,000 people there in 60 event categories. So it is very competitive and very hard to win. I also hope to be responsive and innovative and hope people can rely on me to help them improve their chapters and be the person to come to when they need help. So DECA really has allowed me to involve myself more and help me with my future ambitions. It's allowed me to grow as a student. It's allowed me to speak with my group of peers, take initiative, and improve as an overall person. So, thank you guys for listening, and if you guys have any questions, please ask. Away. Yeah.
Any questions for Luke?
Luke, I have a question for you.
Yep.
You have a pretty busy schedule. Do you actually go to class at all?
I do, yes.
I'm impressed.
Can you please repeat which position you're running for?
DECA District Representative.
Thank you.
So this will be I got to take a test. I got to write an essay. I have to get a recommendation. And I got all the signatures for it already. So once I do that, I submit the paperwork. And hopefully, I don't know who's going to be involved yet, but each person will get a delegate from their DECA chapter who will vote for a person. So my sister's my campaign manager.
Great.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Okay, discussion, Professional Development Day. Dr. Hauk.
Luke, I'm sure you go to class. My question is, do you actually sleep ever? Okay. Yeah, wow. So just wanted to update the board on what we participated in. We had another PD day on October 6th, and as I promised you, I'd like to keep you updated on what we do on those days. We had over 100 teachers who teach science. Any teacher who teaches science was part one of a two-part training on the new science standards that will be active the 25-26 school year. They're not just new standards. It's really a whole new way of teaching. It's called inquiry-based, where we present students with a real-world problem and they learn science through this inquiry-based learning. So it's a huge shift for a lot of teachers. So the 100 or so teachers that were there were appreciative, I believe, of the opportunity to start early, to start learning and planning for these standards. They overwhelmingly, in the review, the survey that the IU put forth, overwhelmingly said that it's going to be a huge shift for them. They are asking for more time to delve into these standards and more time to figure out how they're going to make this shift. So we're planning to provide them with time and further professional development. So that was all day for all elementary teachers and middle and high school science teachers. The high school, those who don't teach science, they collaborated together to create more campaign quote-unquote materials to encourage students to take higher level courses. So they're working with middle school to start with 7th and 8th graders to make sure that both students and parents are aware of the opportunities they have in high school, of the value of taking honors level courses and AP courses. So they created some flow charts that they're going to put in the course selection guide so parents know what that course progression is. So they got together and worked on that work and came up with some really good ideas. They also have some great ideas for the spring back to school night. It's actually in January. I think of it as the spring semester. So they're working on that as well. The PE teachers at the high school all participated in lifeguard training. The more staff we have that are lifeguard trained, the more that PE can use the pool so that they have more people that are available to be the lifeguard on duty. So they participated in that. The elementary encore teachers are continued to write curriculum and collaborated. Our mental health professionals, so the school psychs, the guidance counselors, and the social workers, they got together and worked on our crisis plan. If there should be any type of a crisis in the district, then we have the safety component that Mr. Perkins is spearheading, and then we have the mental health side. And so the counselors were working together on creating and revising that plan. Our reading specialists were participating in a Science of Reading course, and they're going to turn that around to create professional development for our teachers. And our ESL teachers were preparing for faculty meetings. They're presenting at faculty meetings to give teachers strategies to use with students who are English language learners, and they are curating some resources, and they're preparing for the upcoming access test that all of our ESL students have to take. At the middle school, they did some teacher-driven professional development, so a variety of teachers offered some PD sessions, some relating to technology, some relating to music, some relating to PE. So they cycled through those sessions, and in the afternoon they did some curriculum writing and they did some committee and department meeting times. So I think that covers what everyone was doing.
Questions for Dr. Hauk? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, November board presentation by Crabtree Rohrbaugh. Mr. Fluke.
So as the board knows, Tom and I have been working with Crabtree to develop short and long-term capital improvement plans. We have scheduled a presentation on the November 14th board meeting that will focus on the capital needs of Lybe and North Salem Elementary, and it's going to be centered around HVAC, electrical, the sprinkler system, and related general construction items as they pertain to those. We are starting with those two buildings because that's where the ESSER funds will be spent. In order for funding of equipment or renovations to be ESSER compliant, the work must be designated as a mitigation to COVID. On November 21st, there will be a motion that is needed in order to proceed with the ESSER work. It will be a motion to direct the district's planning consultant and design firm to work with the district administration to move forward with procuring the necessary equipment to fulfill the ESSER grant requirements. The quick turnaround time of the motion is because of the fact that the district is behind in completing these projects due to the turnover in the staff in the business office and the facilities department. So timing right now is extremely crucial to ensure the funds are spent according to federal grant guidelines. Once the architects establish the best way to meet the grant guidelines, Dover needs to receive prior approval from PDE before starting the projects, as well as approval from the board. The projects previously PDE had approved are no longer applicable or viable for this grant or for the district. And just as a small reminder, these projects will not be paid by district funds, but it's actually grant funding, so it's ESSER money. Not using the ESSER funds is a use it or lose it. So it's extremely important that we start the process immediately so that we do not lose the funds. We all know about supply chain issues. It's still going on. Our architects are having issues. We're having issues. So that's why, but I wanted to give the board a heads up so you had time before the 14th to formulate any questions you had for Crabtree or any concerns you had or anything you wanted to address with administration. Any questions? No? Okay. All right.
Great job, Mr. Fluke.
Okay. Rolling into the results for September. We're still seeing the same decrease in salaries as we did in August, just timing of payroll, decrease in teacher and custodial salaries, and offset by an increase of special education paraprofessionals. If you notice, too, there's an increase in 300, which is purchase professional and technical services. And this is really just due to timing of payments to the LIU. There were two payments made during this fiscal year and only one payment made during last year, and that kind of skews the numbers a little bit, but there will be a catch-up when you look at the numbers in October. The increase in 400 is, again, from August due to the roof replacement at North Salem, which was paid with ESSER funds as well. The increase in 600, which is supplies, is due to just, again, timing of payments, which is a lot of what usually this happens month to month and year over year. Some reclassifications of software as well. Revenue variance, the decrease in real estate tax collections is, again, due to a timing of deposits. During early October, there was almost a $10 million deposit made. It was made on the 4th as opposed to on the 30th, so it's just a slight change of deposits. We're still seeing a tick in interest income tax of approximately 10%. And again, same thing with interest rates. As we all know, interest rates are very favorable right now, which is causing the $89,000 increase. Decrease in state revenue is due to one payment for the Ready to Learn grant. We haven't received that yet. And the increase in other revenue is due to the networking equipment that was approved in the spring. It's really just a net entry. You have to record the revenue and the expense, so it has no impact on the bottom line. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Okay, so I'm also going to present the food service statement of operations. I usually wait until September because with school starting in August, you really don't have any viable information to provide, so September gives you an entire month. So very pleased to say that the average number of lunches purchased per day increased by 178 meals or 10%. The average number of breakfasts purchased increased by 483 meals, or 113%. We saw a 28% increase in a la carte sales. And this year, we also have an increase in the school breakfast state subsidy reimbursement because the district qualified for Severe Needs Initiative. And I just kind of gave just a little tiny couple sentences about how you get to that 40% or more with the lunches. The other thing we have noticed month over month from September of '22 to September of '23 is our free and reduced population has increased from 53% to 56%. And even with that, we're still trending ahead of last year. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions? Okay, thank you, Miranda. Okay, that brings us to our first public comment period. This is a 30-minute period for items on or off of the agenda. This is for comments to the board. It is a 3-minute per speaker opportunity, so if you have anything you would like to comment on, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, my name's Chantel Gillen. And did you need my address? I'm sorry.
If you gave that when you signed in, that's fine.
Okay. So I am the mother, and this is the father of Easton Lightcap. He is a 4th grader at North Salem. We have currently exceeded our time limit within the northern transition for the school district separation. We had an older daughter who had graduated at the very beginning of the school year through an alternative school. So it left Easton in the situation of now we are in the beginning of the school year and he may have to separate. I personally have no care in the world where Easton goes to school at, but he has a severe anxiety disorder. He has a separation anxiety disorder. And we have played hell getting him to school in the mornings through his emotions. And I just think that a setback would happen if he was made to transfer right now. So what we have asked for is him to remain in Dover as a non-tuition paying student. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, with that, we'll move into Board President's communication. We did have an executive session after last Tuesday's meeting to review the superintendent evaluation with Dr. Cartwright. So with that, we'll move into the consent agenda. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve all items listed in the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or discussions on any of these items which were reviewed at last week's planning meeting?
Tom, can you please speak about the equipment we're going to purchase, the question that Mr. Wolverton had?
I think your question, Mr. Wolverton, was about if we could have a contractor, like use the lift from a contractor.
Correct.
And, what we normally do is like, for example, when we put the blinds in the gym over here at Dover Elementary, we actually rented the lift ourselves and then provided it for the contractor. Majority of the time, almost all the time, the contractor doesn't have their own lift. What they'll do is they'll go rent it from pretty much the same place we do, and they'll upcharge it. So they'll make money on them having to put the rental in and that kind of, to offset their costs, and then they make a little money on that too. So what we usually do is we actually rent the lift for them, and that saves the district's money, so we don't have to pay the upcharge on the rental fee itself. If we were to have somebody get a lift, they would do the same thing. Then they'd want to do the work also. If, like we said, hey, can you rent the lift? They would want to provide the labor too, then for the work.
I understand.
Gotcha. Just kind of we did some numbers on the lift itself, and I think Mrs. Weaver might have said about, what the cost was. We actually went with a certified used lift. So it's around $17,000 instead of a new lift, which is around $25,300. The certified used one comes with a 2-year warranty. Basically they replace the batteries, the wheels, they repaint it, they redo all the hydraulics on it. It's a big cost savings, and from what we do per year, so right now we're renting, it's about $7,421 a year we pay out in just rental fees for lifts. We would pay that back in just a little bit over 2 years by purchasing one. Anybody else have any other questions?
Okay. Any other questions on these items?
Yeah. Did you contact any of the construction companies around here, like Byron Wagner or any of them, to see whether you could sublease them directly?
Would you mind speaking to that, Tom, please? Sure.
I did not contact any construction companies. Like I said, most of the ones we deal with, they rent from companies like either Sunbelt or Slaymaker. So they usually rent too, because even, on construction sites, I know when we did our last construction site, majority of the equipment that was on site, even by like the general contractor, they rent that from like a Sleigh Maker or a Sunmelt or an Equipment Depot. A lot of people just don't have them anymore.
How old is the lift?
We currently do not have a scissor lift.
No. How old is the lift?
Oh, the lift is coming in. Each one varies. So they bring so many back to the JLG factory and they recertify them. So we could find that out when it comes to time if we're approved to get one. But it does come with a 2-year warranty where everything's redone. Like I said, the batteries, the hydraulics, the wheels, everything on it's redone. It comes with a 2-year warranty, which is actually longer than a new one with a 1-year warranty.
And how old is the lift going to be?
I don't know. It would depend on whichever one we get that they come back as certified pre-owned. It would depend on, they do them in batches. So they get so many back, they run them through the line and they certify them then.
Okay, anybody else with any other questions? Okay, hearing none, Mrs. Almond?
Motion carries 5-1. The no vote, Mr. Wolverton.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the action category, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the waiver of non-resident student tuition for 2023-2024.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion on this?
Yes, Mr. President, is this a waiver for this school year only? Or is that something we'd have to address year over year?
It would be for this year, for the 23-24 school year.
Would it come up for vote again next year? Or is that up to the family?
Go ahead.
Parents who apply for paid tuition apply annually, so this would be the same thing. It would have to be an annual application.
Okay.
I wish I could support this request, but I can't for various reasons. The largest reason for this is because I think this sets a dangerous precedent for the district. We recently denied this same request for 4 families. In the meantime, we had also accepted requests for people that are paying tuition to come here. I also worry about the families that left under the transition plan to go to Northern, and will they be coming back and requesting the same treatment? I think it could set us up for a discriminatory case in the future, and I just don't think the district should be placed in that position. In the end, it could cost us a very significant fortune, and I'm very concerned about that. I just don't feel as though the taxpayers of Dover should be on the hook for non-resident tuition at this point. It just really concerns me, so I will not be supporting this request tonight. Anybody else? Okay, Mrs. Almond.
Motion fails. 2 yes, 4 no. The no votes, Mr. Deschaux, Mr. Eifert, Mr. Rawhauser, Mr. Wolverton.
Okay. Okay, next I'll entertain a motion to approve the DAE SPA Memorandum of Understanding for holiday pay.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Almond?
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving into York Adams Academy, Mr. Emig.
We had a meeting last week, and the meeting was very short. It was done by telephone. It was less than a 15-minute meeting, and the president of the York Adams was not in attendance, so nothing really happened since it was about 13 minutes long. And I don't like phone meetings, just letting you know.
Any questions for Mr. Emig? Okay, Mrs. Meese, York County School of Technology.
Thank you. Big discussion point now is the budget, the 2024-2025 budget. The budget will be presented to the JOC October 26th, so that'll be next week, right? Yes, next Thursday. So I'll have more information to share on that in November. Let's see, I thought there was something else. We have full-time enrollment right now is 1,668. I think I reported that last month, but just, I think I love data, so I think that's a good number to share. The enrollment goal is 1,700, and currently the staff are doing their school visits to the middle schools in the county. I don't know that Dover has theirs scheduled yet, but they've done quite a few. Does any, Dr. Cartwright, do you know if ours is scheduled
It is
yet?
not scheduled yet.
Okay. Is that something we participate in, though?
We have in the past, yes.
Okay. Do we plan on participating in that, or?
That is a question I'd have to ask Mr. Benton.
Okay. I think that's about it. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions for Mrs. Meese? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Rawhauser, Legislative.
No report.
Okay, PSBA, we do not have Mrs. Brinton with us tonight. Dr. Cartwright, did you have anything from PSBA at all?
I do not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dover Industrial Development Committee Authority, do we have anything on that tonight?
I think we need a new representative now that
Okay.
Mrs. Herman is off the board.
Okay, I think we'll do that in December when the new board is seated.
I think so.
All right. LIU, Dr. Cartwright.
No report this evening.
Superintendent's report, I bet you have one of those.
I absolutely do. Thank you. Here goes. FFA had 4 2023 graduates attend the Big E in Massachusetts to compete in the Nursery Landscape Career Development event. Tommy Barr, Lily Evans, Samantha Perkins, and Isabella Sims won second place at the PA FFA State Convention, qualifying them to represent Pennsylvania and compete in the Eastern States. Isabella Sims won third place. Congratulations to Lawson Leeper for receiving a nomination as the YAIAA Male Athlete of the Week for the week of October 2nd. Lawson, a member of the golf team, posted a 2-round score of 7 over par 151 during the District 3 Class 3A tournament at Honey Run Golf Club 2 weekends ago, which qualified him for the PIAA State Golf Championship at Penn State University over the past 3 days. I did just hear during this meeting that Lawson came in 69th out of 72 golfers, and unfortunately he hurt his back in the competition. Congratulations to Braden Zirkle for being selected as the YAIAA Football Athlete of the Week for the week of October 2nd. Braden, the 5'9" senior member of the Dover varsity football team, caught 6 passes for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns during a recent game, a road win against Eastern York School District. Braden will lead the Dover Eagles, or excuse me, this is past tense, led the Dover Eagles in their non-division contest against Dallas Town last Friday night. Congratulations to the girls varsity soccer, boys junior varsity soccer, and junior high football teams for their recent wins. Congratulations to Eric Campbell for his nomination as Game Time PA YAIAA Football Athlete of the Week for the week of September 25th. Eric, the 6'2" senior quarterback, went 8 of 10 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns and ran for 2 more scores as the Eagles shut out York Suburban on homecoming night for a Division II win. Congratulations to the following golfers who competed in the league championships at Briarwood: Braden Bowlesby, Braxton Deerdorf, Patrick Knobb, Carter Leeper, Lawson Leeper, Bronson Link, and Colby Yo. Congratulations to Marissa Taco, who is representing Dover at the YAIAA Girls Singles Tennis Tournament, and Olivia Murin and Amelia Bubb competing in the Girls Doubles Tennis Tournament at Red Lion High School. Past tense again, my apologies. And recently, the cross-country team on October 3rd had quite a day. Kira Ryder won the race against Central, Bermudian Springs, Kennardale, and Biglerville, leading the entire way. Natalie Young was 4th and Nina Menard was 8th. The girls' team only lost to Central and ended the day 3-1. Their overall record at that point was 11-4. Caleb Hogan also won the race, beating the Bermudian Springs course record by 20 seconds. What a great birthday gift for him. The boys went 1 for 3, beating Biglerville, helped by Jaden Wise, who set a personal record. Congratulations to Nathan Miller for receiving a nomination as Game Time PA YAIAA Male Athlete of the Week for September 11th. Nathan, a sophomore member of the boys soccer team, helped Dover to its first win of the season, 2-1 over Redland, with an overtime goal on a diving header last Thursday. Again, past tense. I'm sorry, I should have taken out some of these words. Miller is also the kicker for Dover's football team. Congratulations to Caleb Hogan for his nomination as YAIAA Male Athlete of the Week, and Garen Quillen for his nomination for Football Athlete of the Week during the week of September 18th. Caleb Hogan, a junior cross-country runner, placed first overall in a meet between the Eagles, Spring Grove, Fairfield, and host West York with a time of 17 minutes and 32 seconds. Caleb bettered the rest of the field by 63 seconds. Caleb also won a meet with Southwestern, New Oxford, and Northeastern in a time of 17:31. Garen Quillen, a senior varsity football player, ran for 191 yards and scored 3 touchdowns as the Eagles defeated visiting Susquehannock in a Division II game. The 5'10", 180-pound senior scored on runs of 1 and 20 yards in the first half and put Dover ahead to stay within a 29-yard run late in the third quarter. He had 27 carries in the game. This past weekend, we had a great choir festival, and this coming weekend is band night, Saturday evening. I want to thank LIBE teacher John Mark Murphy and his wife for being good Samaritans recently. They came to an aid of an individual in the community who needed medical assistance. And last but not least, also many thanks to Bobby Joe Lebo, middle school personal care assistant, who saw something and said something this week. We often tell our staff, if you see something, say something, and that's exactly what Bobby did. Bobby Joe's observations and swift actions helped prevent an unwelcome situation just yesterday morning at the middle school. That ends my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, any questions for Dr. Cartwright? Okay, that brings us to our final public comment period. Again, this is a 30-minute period for items on or off of the agenda. It is 2 minutes per speaker this time. So if you have anything you would like to comment on, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Okay, with that, any other comments or observations from our board members tonight?
Yes. Tom might have reported and I missed it. How did we make out with the all-purpose field? Did they replace the whole thing or just patchwork it?
They actually rolled up both sides, the areas that were not draining. So they rolled the turf all the way up towards the middle of the field. They went through and relayed the base, and they call it the dust. Went through, put everything back down, sewed it back together. They did the water testing where they go in to see how it drains, and it all passed. So everything is as it should be now, and it passed all of the drainage test that they performed. They did 2 on each side.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Anything else?
Yes. I'd like to have an executive session for about 5 minutes after this meeting, please.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Dr. Cartwright, can you update me on what's going on with the SOAR program? Is it still, I asked about it last month.
The SOAR teacher resigned in the summer, and we could not find a replacement. So the students who were in that classroom are not in a classroom. They are out in their regular classrooms. And there is an aide for that classroom. So she is spending time with the students who need that extra assistance in their classrooms and in the hallways as needed.
So they don't come together anymore as a group in a separate classroom?
Correct.
Are we looking to hire somebody to fill that role, or is the new scenario working out?
We looked for several weeks and did not have any luck. So we have kind of given up for now.
Okay. So we're just going to stick to the plan of having the students?
We're going to do our best with what we have,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, with that, our future meetings, we will have our next board planning meeting on November 14th at 6 o'clock p.m., and then our regular board meeting on November 21st at 6 o'clock p.m. So if there is no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.